Love to welcome everybody back to the Independent Investor Channel. This will serve as the year-end 2024 coverage of Aduro Clean Technology. This will be the last video that we shoot in 2024. Been covering the company for the last couple of years now. Full disclosures are available in the description below. I'm a bullish share owner in the company. Have just recently rounded out my position at 50,000 shares in the company. So please understand. This work that I do on behalf of Aduro Clean Technologies, I am paid for my services. Again, I invite you to review those disclaimers in full transparency in the description below, as that is our goal here, is not to misconstrue, but to educate the would-be audience on an opportunity that I believe is flying in the face of a market that has really not garnered the attention that it deserves. It's right there. It's under everybody's nose, and there is not enough churn around this. And I think it just speaks to the opportunity in 2025. Having had Aduro on the Nasdaq markets for just a couple of months now, the silent period is ending tomorrow. At the time of filming this video, just at the end of 2024, on December 27th. And it will be interesting to see the opportunity that is created by that opening up of information coverage of the company, forecasts, stock price, and analyst coverage should actually be forthcoming on Aduro. It's been a pretty quiet couple of months on Aduro. But for you guys that don't know, Aduro Clean Technologies is in the plastic recycling space. It does have two other verticals, upgrading of heavy oil, as well as bitumen upgrading. But the focus that Aduro has embarked on over the last couple of years has really accelerated along the plastic recycling vertical. Why is that? You've all been duped. As I was educated a couple of years ago when I was brought to the Aduro story about just how much recycling occurs in today's society, less than 5% of the world's plastic actually ends up in a recycling situation where the remainder of it ends up in either landfills or our oceans, shipped overseas to be burned using rudimentary methods that are both damaging to human health but also to the environment. It has been a head in the sand approach for many, many decades, and the scrutiny has been placed really as of late on the large plastic producers to do something. And I don't believe that the plastic producers are not acknowledging that there is a problem. I believe that they do all have not only a hand in the problem itself, but also have a vested interest in finding a solution. With that said, the solutions that have been brought to bear over the many decades have been economically unviable to recycle plastic in any type of economic sense, and therefore the very incentive to recycle has been removed, in that the cost to engage in recycling programs would have cost more than the actual recycling itself. And that, my friends, is what has transpired over the last many, many decades, because science just has not existed and methods have not existed to ensure that the plastic waste problem can be dealt with in any type of efficient manner. And so it has just been easier for us to ignore the problem. And I believe that it sets ourselves up over the next couple of years for much more of an awakening to this topic, an awakening to the companies that are stepping forward with their technologies to combat the plastic recycling problem, and allowing investors opportunity to profit from those discoveries that have been made in the plastic recycling methods, and companies like Aduro Clean Technologies bring to bear. I really want to talk to you guys about the opportunity going forward and open up a little bit of dialogue about the action in the company, as well as what I feel like is a setup in the company going forward that is not given its due credit. The magnitude of the problem is enormous. We are talking about a $200 billion total addressable market. I've actually done some research to suggest that the addressable market is significantly more than that, because the market really is defining itself now as a blue ocean. In other words, the opportunity that is there, we are now at the beginning stages of just exploring what type of addressable market is out there and how we can define customer needs and tailor solutions to meeting customer needs going forward, in carving out in small pieces this problem that makes up the addressable market. And I think for Aduro, the opportunity speaks to that. I think that share owners really need to look at this addressable market in multiple facets and understanding that none of these companies are the same in their approaches to addressing the plastic problem. Now, for you guys that don't know, you really need to do some research on Aduro. You can find the best information on adurocleantech.com. I always provide a link in the description for you guys to kick over there and review their investor slide deck, which does a wonderful job in walking you through what Aduro is, how long they've been working on this, what type of patent portfolio protection they have against their technology, what type of business model they have in rolling out this product, how they'll make money, and what type of time frame we're looking at here for the potential for starting to generate some revenue. Now, the upper management, I do expect to call a shareholder meeting in January. They always do that at the beginning of every year. Aduro is one of those companies that delivers on their promises as they have in 2024. I expect that those goals will be outlined for 2025 and maybe even some insight on where the project could potentially go beyond 2025. So stand by for that. We will be eagerly awaiting those year-end summaries and new goals forecasted by the CEO as well as upper management going into 2025. So stand by on that. But 2024 was a pivotal, monumental year for Aduro Clean Technology, and they've moved into the public eye rather quickly. The company was incepted about 15 years ago, so they've been around for a while, developing their technology. Coming to markets in the way that they have has actually provided a very unique opportunity to share owners that could potentially get in on the ground floor here, and coming to public markets in a very, very unique manner. In other words, they did not seek out the assistance of traditional IPO routes through funding, through private equity, right, which typically would leave the average investor to the sideline, and you just be hearing about Aduro Clean Technologies when it surpassed $1 billion in market cap. Currently, Aduro sports a market cap of just shy of 170 million US. That could be increasing today with the increase of the share price. But I just want to set your expectations in line, where a couple of years ago, the value over this technology alone was valued at close to 200 million. Me personally, I actually add another 100 million to that. My estimate was around 300 million. And until we get that first true collaboration deal, right, where we sign a collaborator to a partnership deal, I believe that is going to solidify the value that we've awarded over the proprietary hydrochemolytic technology that Aduro does sport. And I believe that is going to exacerbate some real interest in the stock specific to the technology that up until now has had multiple forms of validation, that of which we had none when we first started covering the company back in the summer of 2022. Oh, how far we have come in this project, my friends. The validation that I speak of that is happening now is amongst the who's who in the plastic producing companies, some of the largest in the world, in excess of $40 billion. And Aduro has seven of them right now, interested in the technology, working in different phases of engagement through their customer engagement program to showcase what Aduro brings to bear with their technology. Now, the 200 million in value right now, the market cap of the entire company is 170 million. So we're talking about probably a fifth of where it needs to be just to get on par with some of the competitors in the space. And that just puts it Aduro Clean Technologies at a nice clean $1 billion of market cap and valuation, which I think they should be there now. I think the company is slowly re-rating before our eyes. When that's going to happen, I'm not a forecaster and I'm not a wizard. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just looking at what is happening now and how well the company has done on Nasdaq, and its increase in volume, its increase in awareness, and its increase in access to capital, which actually, in my opinion, does in fact lend itself to the bottom line in assessing a fair market cap for this company. And that discovery just will continue to take time. What's happened over the last couple of months have been positive. The unroll and unraveling of the company is still happening right before our eyes. So I'm reporting out on you guys as the process is happening. I'm not reporting out and making these videos as if the Aduro Clean Technology story has been written. It is writing itself as we speak. Okay, so it's very, very important for you to continue to follow the story, continue to follow my channel as well as others. You can subscribe to the channel. You get this information free of charge. And when information comes across my desk, it is a privilege of mine to pass that information along. Like I said, my position in the company is set. I don't have to do this. I do this to convey what I consider to be an extremely rare opportunity, but also to pull the sheets back, really open up the curtains and show people that these opportunities are very, very rare. They're very far and few between. And I think that this simmer time on the NASDAQ markets has provided a very obvious entry for those patrons who are just now making their way to their Aduro Clean Technology story. Even now, right, at a pre-split basis, we're talking about a couple of dollars, less than $2 a share for a company that's looking to tackle a $200 million total addressable market. Again, I believe that it's more. I believe that that is extremely conservative and, quite frankly, a little bit not as accurate. But those are the figures that are currently awarded to the market surrounding the plastic recycling space, my friends. Okay. So my goal here is to calmly continue to cover the story. Again, I'm not actively buying shares now. My first position just turned long, actually a couple of positions from early December of 2023, and then some long positions that I've had since 2022 have materialized now, and we'll look for those subsequent positions to turn long here in 2025 as those purchases have happened this year, early this year, and throughout the year, building what I felt like were good entries into the stock. There has not been a whole lot of massive digression in the stock price. It's held very, very steady at its levels. It'll go through months of very anemic trading, which I think we're in one now, honestly, where The company hasn't got a lot of attention, and the news releases have been quiet on the Aduro forefront, and no problem. I think, unfortunately, that lulls a lot of people to sleep in who are interested in the story, or perhaps maybe have expectations about the company that it's going to go up every single day. I think this is going to be a slow tranche toward an inevitable re-rating in the company. And when that re-rating happens, I will not tell you when because I don't know. But when it happens, it's going to happen fast and it's going to happen furious. The current share float right now sits just shy of 30 million shares, guys. That is an anemic share float. Half of those shares are owned by management. Just over 40, 41, 42% are owned by management. So you have to ask yourself if you've done any research at all and due diligence on the opportunity that exists with Aduro Clean Technology. It really surrounds itself in understanding that this technology is the best technology in the world for plastic recycling. I think we can come to an agreement and a consensus on that. Obviously, there are detractors to the message who are loyal to their companies, and that's fine too. A lot of those same critics of Aduro Clean Technologies will never be able to actually admit that maybe they missed this, or when is it that they can inject and say, hey, maybe there's something here to be had, because we're slowly providing insights, or have over the last couple of years, to share owners that have enjoyed the Aduro Clean Technology story, yes, but have also profited from it. And so again, the detractors to the Aduro Clean Technology story, I think, unfortunately get blinded by not keeping an open mind in understanding how large this addressable market is, and how multiple players are going to have their opportunity within the space, as long as the technology that they bring to bear have that unique element of meeting customer needs. Eric Appelman has spoke about this many, many times. And just because you have a good story and just because you have a compelling story does not mean that that is going to guarantee conversion to customers going forward. And I think if you really look below the hood, I think you'll find that Aduro has that customizable, scalable, and modular approach. And those three words, guys, don't miss that element of the ability of Aduro to come in and speak with companies, both small and large, and tailor their solution to what the customer needs. I think that's a real takeaway for the opportunity that Aduro sports. And as they get closer with the next generation process, that Aduro looks to have some plans on the books, and I would expect an unveiling at the January meeting of those rudimentary plans, and then a potential next generation process reactor in sometime in 2025. I'm looking at the back half of 2025 is just going to be a major milestone toward that final reactor iteration that I can only expect that Aduro is going to be able to showcase for customers and say how much and how many do you need. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. How many tons per day can you do, and how many reactors will it take to actually meet that end? And I think that Aduro really holds all the cards when it comes through to negotiating into 2026 and 27, and bridging itself through 2025 in making sure that they can get this next generation process up and running, showcase it to clients, transition the collaborators in the customer engagement program to some inevitable partnerships. I think the first one is going to be a key in starting the domino effect with this company. But we're going to be patient through 2025. I do expect some volatility. I do expect some grander volatility in the stock market in general. Most schools of thought would suggest that mid cap, and small caps should actually benefit from that environment, having had most of the attention over the last couple of years on large capital companies, and small caps have really been left behind. So we have a really, really good setup here. The stock performance over 2024, just like I've reported in years past, has been positive. We're going to end the year up significantly. We did incur the 3.25 reverse stock split in the company, which actually increased the stock price to the minimum listing required for, at the time, New York Stock Exchange. Aduro shifted directions and inevitably went with the Nasdaq, which I thought was a fantastic pivot in the evolution of this story, in uplisting to the Nasdaq in the fall of 2024. 2025 is going to be a year where we're going to trade for 12 months on a major market exchange. I think that's going to be key in setting the framework and groundwork that we have built over the last couple of years, hopefully with some level of awareness for people in understanding the potential opportunity here, to showing and chronicling that progress in the company from even all the way back to the early days when Aduro Clean Technologies started to trade on Canadian markets, and very anemically trade here in the U.S., being very, very difficult for would-be share owners to acquire shares in the company. For those couple of years that I was covering the company, I was one of them. But now the availability of the shares are there. It is showing up in the ever-growing and evolving volume day to day, which I think is a positive catalyst. The awareness still needs to incrementally increase leaps and bounds for Aduro in 2025. But there was a recent video that I saw from Mariusz Skonieczny, who's probably the he's in he's in a rare camp of content creators on Aduro, having provided I think over 100 pieces of content on Aduro since the very beginning, even before I started covering him, a couple of months anyway. But he talked about the setup. And it really got my attention on his last video when he was talking about Aduro Clean Technologies, and talking about this company, and just how unique the setup is. There are multiple factors that go into the setup, a few of which I've mentioned in this coverage. The company being 15 years old, not subjecting itself to private equity, and coming to public markets and generating a ton of cash on the onset of a traditional IPO, as opposed to what they did with an uplisting. The setup in the plastic pollution space on two fronts, in that we understand that there's a huge addressable market. We know that. We've covered that in this video. What I think we do miss is that for many, many decades, the common household has been duped in believing that plastics, once they leave and they go to the curb or they go to the recycle bin, do not actually go to recycle. They don't get recycled. They end up in the ocean and they end up in the landfill. And you might think, my goodness, that's going to really really wake a lot of people up out there in understanding that less than 5% of plastic get recycled in today's society. So here you've got Aduro Clean Technologies coming up on the onset of addressing an addressable market that has previously been uneconomical to even think about addressing. And you have this 95% of recycled material, or potential opportunity of material that is just ending up in the environment, as opposed to being subjected to a circular economy. The setup couldn't be any better. And I guess the question for would-be investors going into 2025 and starting to study Aduro Clean Technologies, mind you, this isn't a call to purchase the shares. I've conveyed to you my loyalty and shared with you my share ownership in the company. Each investor out there has to do their own research on the company to team whether or not an Aduro Clean Technologies can fit into their individual situation and individual portfolios. But when you talk about an opportunity like Aduro Clean Technologies going forward, how much could you value the technology that is set up to penetrate this total addressable market and has the solution that is economically viable, scalable, modular, and has gotten the attention of multiple multi-billion dollar plastic producing companies out there? And that is really the question, where a lot of people's focus is on the large capital markets and talking about what Tesla and Nvidia and Microsoft and Salesforce and Meta are doing from day to day. I think all too often the true value of those companies gets missed. And I think it blinds us to the opportunity that could potentially exist with a company like this that is just getting started on the roadway toward taking a meaningful bite out of this and starting to penetrate the total addressable market. And I think we're just on the precipice of starting to realize the penetration value of Aduro. In other words, when those first few partnerships start to fall in line, I'm eagerly waiting for the first one. I really think that that's going to solidify its baseline value now at a few $100 million. I think that could probably boost them well over 500 or 600 million once that first partnership is validated, because that will provide us the insight on what has been going on behind the scenes with Aduro Clean Technologies and the product validation through the customer engagement program, and really allow the world to know that it is for real. And it has been showcased behind the scenes, and that will be our green light to understanding how much potential can actually be realized in this plastic pollution problem. So we will be eagerly awaiting those news. We will be covering the 2025 in January, the forecast for goals for 2025 and the review of 2024. But I just want to thank you guys for the continued followership on the channel in following this. Is the only story that I'm reporting out on right now. Like I said, I don't need to. I do it because I feel like this is the area that gets the least amount of attention. It fits in with my pedigree of being independent in my thought and application. And I think that this is an area of the market that could potentially really materialize over the next couple of years and provide an opportunity unlike we have ever seen in a company that has provided a ground floor opportunity, and it's provided it to the masses. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Aduro review for 2024. If you like the content, I again invite you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Please leave your comments at the bottom of the video if you disagree or agree with anything that was talked about during the course and making of this video. And I will invite you to stay tuned for further content on Aduro. Thank you so much for tuning into the video, and good luck in your investment future.